Isn't that just so cool, the way that happens? Hi, everybody, and welcome to Transformational Tuesdays. I'm Teresa Velardi, your host for this time of inspiration, education, motivation, and conversation that is focused on key ingredients necessary to create positive change in our lives, commonly called transformation. So for those of you who are new to this or have not seen or met me before or talked to me, I created Transformational Tuesdays about 4 or 5 years ago as a way to pay back some of what I had been given along my, or pay forward some of what I had learned on my own journey of transformation. And it's just been an incredible whirlwind of great times with lots of great guests. We have guests just about every week, and sometimes I come forward with a topic, which is what we're going to do today. And each one of us is here for one purpose: to help you on your own personal journey of transformation. And if you are listening to me, if you're watching me, good news. If you are anywhere within the sound of my voice, you are already on your own transformational journey. So one thing that is absolutely the truth is, and change is constantly occurring in our lives. So the question is how will you adapt to change, or how will you create a change that you want to make in your life? And Transformational Tuesdays is all about bringing you information that can support you on your transformational journey. So today, I sent out an email that said I was going to give you an introduction to 5-star abundance. And, it is my belief that abundance comes to us when we are in a certain mindset, when we have certain key elements that are part of our lives and actually allow for abundance to flow. Wayne Dyer says, abundance is not something we acquire, it is something we tune into. So with that being said, keep that in your mind. I'll say it again. Abundance is not something we acquire, it is something we tune into. It's my belief that we are all here to live an abundant life. And I believe that God, universe, creator, whatever you want to say, put each and every one of us on this planet with the capabilities that we need in order to be able to live the abundant life that He would like us to have. So let's define what abundance is. Abundance, for the simple definition, according to Webster's, and for those of you who don't know me, I'm a real word nerd. I will tell you that. I love words. I love finding definitions. I love finding new meanings. I love finding new words. And then every once in a while, you'll hear me use it. And every time I say this, I think about this. A friend of mine who, when her little girl was very small, she too loves words. So she tried them out. So Olivia, what's new and exciting in your life? And she would go, well, actually, and she would then go on to say whatever she would. So I'm a word nerd for those of you who are listening for the first time or seeing me for the first time. So let's define what Webster says as abundance. According to the simple definition, is a large amount of something, an abundant amount of something. And it could also be affluence, wealth, or relative degree of plentifulness. So I want to talk about abundance, not necessarily from the standpoint of wealth in the money sense of the word, because if I'm not mistaken, as soon as I said wealth, right away, everybody's mind went to money. Yes? So the thing is that there are lots of areas in our life where we can be living abundantly, but not necessarily have the wealth of dollars in our pockets or our bank accounts. So abundance comes in a lot of different areas. So let's start with Let's start with relationships, abundant relationships. How many of you have really good friends, maybe an incredible partner, husband, wife, you know, or a great relationship with the people that you work with, or your boss if you're working in a job, a job? How about relationships with, you know, your friends, your children? Relationships, we can have abundance in relationships just the same way as we can have abundance with dollars and cents in our bank account. So that's one area where a lot of people think that abundance is just around money, and it's not. So I really want to go through these things in order to be able to bring awareness. Remember that word, because we're going back to it. Bring awareness to all the different areas where you actually probably are living more abundantly than you realize. So relationships are abundant, and I'm sure that you have abundant relationships in your life, people who really support you. So the second place where we find abundance in our lives is in our physicality, so physical abundance. Things that we have, health and well-being can be physical abundance. We have also, you know, when I think about physical abundance, I think of all the, not necessarily just my body, but all the things that surround me. You know, the beauty of nature outside is abundant, a huge gift. The fact that I have a roof over my head is abundance. The fact that I have a healthy body to serve me today may not look the way I want it to, but don't discount the fact that you have a healthy body. You have a body that is getting you around from here to there to do whatever it is that you choose to do in your abundant living. So abundance is relational, physical as well. And physical from your physical body, and to the physicality that is around you. The third place where there is abundance is in spirituality. So if for those of you who are listening to this or seeing me during this, I want to really encourage you that if you are someone who has not yet made a spiritual connection to yourself, your inner self, your higher self that is within you, or to God, or to the universe, or whatever, there is great abundance awaiting you in this. For me, I choose to call my higher power God, and I know that I have this connection to something that is greater than myself, that supports everything that I am doing. And there are ways that we can acknowledge this. Affirmations, you know, and really one of the things that I do, I have a whiteboard, and on my whiteboard in my office is written this statement: I am fabulous, blessed, highly favored, living with passion and purpose, using my gifts and talents, and all of God's great universe is conspiring in my favor. That is a statement of spiritual abundance. That is that everything that is meant for me, and everything is meant for you. Everything that you desire is meant for you. So everything that is meant for me is coming to me by virtue of the fact that this is an abundant world. This is an abundant universe, and I believe that we have an abundant God who runs the show and wants to give us everything that our hearts desire. So physical, relational, spiritual, emotional. Let's go there. Abundance and emotions. So, you know, I had a conversation with somebody yesterday about emotions, and I really, we can either experience them or we can avoid them. Now, for me, a lot of times in my life, I avoided my emotions. I did not, my father did not like angry little girls. So I got sent to my room whenever I was angry, and I never got a chance to express anger. So I learned that when I felt that way, I was either going to I was either going to be punished and sent to my room, or I could figure out a way to not feel that anger. So I stuffed it. I ate my way through anger in life, and I gained a tremendous amount of weight, and that was my coping mechanism. People who can't deal with emotions, a lot of people will do drugs, drink, shop, use sex, and they'll get addicted to anything else besides feeling their emotions. So I bring this up because I want to encourage you to recognize the fact that emotions come to us in abundance, and they are something that we can learn to integrate into our lives. And yes, I can repeat what I had on my whiteboard. The whiteboard says, I am fabulous, blessed, highly favored, living with passion and purpose, using my gifts and talents, and all of God's great universe is conspiring in my favor. And I'll type that in here when I get a minute. So emotions, and that holds true for everything. That statement that I just made, that is a statement that embraces abundance in my life. And whether we're talking about relational, physical, spiritual, emotional, financial is the one we're going to go there next, the financial one. Everything is from the place of abundance. And if you believe you are living in abundance, you are certainly living in abundance. And one of the things that I want to bring to this conversation here before I go into financial, the thing that is the key to unlock the doorway to abundance is gratitude. And gratitude is the way that we say to the universe, to God, thank you for all that you've given me. I embrace everything that you've given me, and it will be quite all right if you want to give me some more. So that's the gratitude piece really is the part that creates the doorway for abundant living. So I believe that the law of the universe says something about giving and receiving. The laws of giving and receiving have all to do with abundant living. And I wish Karen Mayfield is on this call, and she's not. Yes, she is. Karen, I am going to open your line in just a minute. I know you're listening to me. So I want you to talk about the law of giving and receiving in relation to our conversation about abundance right after I do this financial piece. So financial abundance, of course, we know is money, and money we have, money we use to purchase things that we want. Financial abundance is maybe you're living in financial freedom. You're able to pay all your bills and have a little bit left over. But financial abundance is just a step away. And maybe there's a way that you can tweak that. Maybe it's the gratitude piece. Maybe it's the piece that Karen is going to talk about in just a minute. I'm putting her on the spot here, but she's well aware of the universal laws. And I am going to, Karen Mayfield, I'm opening your line. Can you hear me, Karen?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. That lovely Arkansas accent. This is Karen Mayfield. She's the founder of Wake Up Women. And these areas of abundant life are also areas that the books from Wake Up Women are based on. Every single one of these books that Wake Up Women puts out has all of these different areas in life where we can have a conversation about abundance. We can have a conversation about anything in relation to our lives based on these different areas. So Karen, I was just talking about financial abundance. Can you talk about the universal law of giving and receiving for our listeners?
Yes. Remember, it's a biblical process, but it's not religious. I'm okay with whatever your religion is, so I'm not here to tout any one kind of religion. But it also says that whatever you put out will come back to you tenfold. So my thinking on this whole thing was, and I just decided at one time to try this and see if it actually would work, which is all about the laws of attraction and everything that goes along with that. But if you put out positivity, or if you give and expect nothing in return, the universe itself will reward you 10 times over, tenfold. And the first time that I tried this was with $5. No. That was the second time. The first time I tried it was with 52 cents. And it was amazing because within 2 hours, I had $5. And I have continued to do that for all these years now because it really does work. And I thought the hardest way in the world to ever receive money is to work for it. The easiest way to ever receive money is just to give and then be open to receive. But a lot of people who give are not open to receive. So you have to also work on that in two different aspects. But I love the law of giving and receiving. It is one of the most powerful universal laws that's out there, and it's guaranteed to work every single time.
Right, and it's in relation to any area of abundance in your life or any area of giving and receiving, you know.
Right.
Yeah, and what you just said about the biblical, I know that in the book of Malachi, it's the only place in the Bible where God says, test me on this. You know, bring me the first 10% in the storehouses, and I will open the floodgates of the heavens for you. So, you know, and I have seen that happen. And here's a way that I can share with you. There was a time in my life when I was really, I had fallen upon hard times, and I couldn't pay my mortgage. And so someone in my church said, let us help you. And they sent me a check for $500. And it wasn't quite enough to pay my mortgage, but on the same day I got that check, I got a phone call from my niece in North Carolina. She had just moved short time before, and she was separating from her father's, you know, her children's dad. They were living together, and she had set up an apartment, and she had everything done except she couldn't get the utilities put on. She needed a deposit. So she said, can you help me? And I said, how much do you need? Guess what she said? $500. I had this check. I had this check in my hand. And I said, well, this won't pay my mortgage. So she has 3 children. She's on her own. I'm going to go ahead and send her that $500. Put it in my bank account, and I wrote her a check for the $500. That day or 2 days later, I'm sitting at my computer, and the company that I worked for at the time, they offered grant money through a program that they had for the employees who fell on hard times. So I'm sitting at my computer, and I'm like looking for ways to resolve this. And inside my heart, I heard, you know, you can get a grant over here. Oh, really? Okay, so I went to the website and I applied for the grant, and sure enough, I was awarded that grant. So I had given away $500, and I became blessed with well over $8,000 to resolve my issues that I was having financially at the time. So the law of giving and receiving holds true. And that was more than 10 times the amount that I had given to help her.
Oh my gosh. Well, you know, isn't that just amazing? And every time I've done, and I'm always paying it forward. I mean, you know, here's the situation. You can't afford not to.
Yeah.
That's really the deal. If you want abundance in your life, pay it forward because you can afford to.
Yeah.
And you know, the one time that I was coming back, I was on a road trip, and I was coming back, and my thing came on, you know, my gas, and I was about out of gas, and so I pulled in to the service station, and I mean, I had no money, seriously, and I was digging, and I thought if I can just get $2 worth of gas, that would be pretty good. So I was digging, and I had pulled over by the payphone. This is when they had payphones. I had pulled over by the payphone, to see so that I could see inside my car. I was looking for money, and all I pulled out was 52 cents. And the next thing I know, this girl shows up at the car, and her knees are bleeding. Her elbows are all bruised up, and she looks pretty rough. Her and her boyfriend had gotten in a fight, and she jumped out of the car.
Wow.
And so, anyway, here she comes, and so she needed to make a phone call. Well, this was before cell phones, so I thought, well, I'll just give her my 50. So I gave her my 52 cents, of which she gave me back 2 pennies. So I had 2 cents worth to get on home. So I thought, okay, I'm just going to go on a wing and a prayer here. And, hey, even if I run out of gas, I'm closer to home than what I am here. So I literally coasted into the service station off of the freeway, which was about 5 blocks from my house. I literally came in on fumes. I pulled the car over, and when I was going to get out of the car, I dropped my keys, and they fell down into the side door of the car. So I was just going to walk home. I'm reaching in the side door to get the keys out. Guess what I find? $5.
2 cents.
$5. I found $5 in the side of that door. Now, the thing is, I had looked in the side of that door when I was 80 miles away, and that $5 was not there. So I don't know how the $5 got there or where it came from, but it was 10 times what I'd given.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Karen.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for sharing. So, and that's when you utilize the law of giving and receiving. Karen, when you meet you again, maybe I'll call on you again later. Hang on. When you utilize the laws of giving and receiving, and they do help you to provide an abundant life. So abundance is a large amount of something, an abundant amount of something. Affluence, wealth, an ample quantity, or relative degree of plentifulness. So hold that definition in your mind, and that's the goal, to live abundantly. And there are certain keys that are available that I believe are necessary, and that's what I'm calling the 5 stars, 5-star abundance, in order to be able to live abundantly. So we're going to go through them just a little bit, but what I am going to do, and what the purpose, notice that the email said this is the intro to the 5-star abundance. I have organized a program for you, and it's a free program that I'm going to put together, and registration for this will begin tomorrow evening at 5 o'clock. And there's going to be a website you can go to as part of Transformational Tuesdays. It's transformationaltuesdays.com/5-star. I'll put it in the box, and you'll get information about this in your email. I'll put it on Facebook and give you a lot of information on where, a lot of places where you can find information where you can get to register. So registration is going to begin tomorrow, June 15th at 5 p.m. And the website to go to is transformationaltuesdays.com/5-star. So it's going to be a free program, and it's going to be 2 hours, and it'll be on July the 7th, which is a Thursday evening from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern. 2 hours on July 7th. That's a Thursday evening from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern. And we're going to talk about these 5 stars in detail. So I want to let everybody know that it is the half-hour mark already, believe it or not. So if you have questions, comments, you need to want to be part of the conversation, just raise your hand, put a note in the chat, or if you are calling in from your cell phone, you can text me at 570-230-4185, and I will recognize you. So 570-230-4185 will get you to my cell phone, and I will open up your line. Just text me your number, and I'll open up your line for you. So let's talk about just briefly what these elements are. So in order to have abundance, I believe that the first thing that we have to be authentic. We have to be real, get real with ourselves. Authenticity is defined by Webster's as real or genuine, not copied or false. Like, who are you? Who are you authentically? And are you living your life in authenticity? That's a huge question, because you know what? We attract that is in alignment, which is the next one, with who we are. So if we are not living in our authenticity, all that is meant to come to us in the form of abundant living will not reach its way if you're pretending to be somebody who you're not. Now, along the line, you may have, like I did for a while, abandon yourself for the sake of somebody else and keeping other people happy. But can I tell you that it's not worth abandoning yourself, regardless of where you're at in your life? So living falsely or not living untrue to yourself, to your personality, your spirit, or your character is completely abandoning your authenticity. So I encourage you to give a little bit of thought to the topic of authenticity and alignment, being in alignment. Now, for those of you who have listened to Transformational Tuesdays before, you've heard me talk about alignment, you've heard me talk about authenticity. Those calls are in the archives, the Transformational Tuesdays replay page. Some of the last 6 months of calls are on that page. And then there's a drop-down menu now. Doreen has done such an incredible job with organizing all the calls. Every single Transformational Tuesdays call is recorded and available to you to listen to free of charge at transformationaltuesdays.com/replays. So you can go there, listen to the one on authenticity, listen to the one on abundance and alignment. There's one on alignment. So alignment is really quite simple. The act of aligning or state of being aligned, positioning or the proper positioning or state of adjustment of the parts. Up here is where the alignment comes. And in your heart is the alignment between your head and your heart. I heard somebody say the distance between your head and your heart is the most difficult 12 inches to travel. So when we get, and acceptance, I have learned that the word acceptance is when the heart hears what the head already knows. So getting those two into alignment will put you in a place of acceptance, which will allow you to be much more authentic and live a life of abundance. So all of these things are tied in. The other thing I want to talk about is awareness. Earlier I said you have to be aware of what it is in your life that you want to build in your relationships or your physical being or your spirituality or your emotions or your finances. The awareness needs to be there first, because with awareness comes change. Change is transformation. So how does one be aware? Knowing that something, such a situation, a condition, or a problem exists. Feeling, experiencing, or noticing something, such as a sound, a sensation, or an emotion. And knowing and understanding a lot about what is happening in the world, your world, or the world around you. So that's a basic definition of awareness. So, a lot of times we don't know what we need to know until we become aware of it. A friend of mine used to say, you don't know what you don't know until you realize you didn't know it. And that opens the door for awareness. It opens the door for you to really be in touch with the things that, number one, you need to know. Number two, the things maybe that you need to do. The things you need to change, the things that you want in your life. What do you want in your life? This is a big question for a lot of people. A lot of people don't know what they want. They may know what they don't want, but they don't necessarily know what they want. So here's a big question you can write down. What do I want? And maybe the why. What is your why? Why do you do what you do? These questions are going to be great for you to bring to our abundance conversation on July the 7th. So, and the 5 stars, when we go into detail on the 5 stars. And then there's the action piece. Are you taking action to get what it is that you want in your life? Are you taking action to build abundance in your life? What steps can you take financially, emotionally, spiritually, relationally, physically? What steps do you need to take? And are you willing to do that? Action is the initiation of a proceeding or process. The bringing about of an alteration by force or through a natural agency, natural agency such as your body, step forward. And it's an act of will. Action is an act of will. So, it takes willpower to get up in the morning and get your sneakers on and go out for a walk. It takes an act of will for you to be putting yourself into action. So these are just a few of the little key points that are going to be part of that conversation. And for those of you who just joined us, because I've seen a few new things pop up here. So for those of you who are unaware, on July the 7th, we are going to have a 2-hour conversation about abundance, the 5-star abundance. Excuse me. And you're going to be able to register for that after tomorrow, June 15th at 5 p.m. registration opens. And I have room for 50 people on this call, and that's it. After 50, that's it. We're also going to have an opportunity for you to have a VIP upgrade. It's a free call, but if you want to have a half-hour conversation with me as a VIP, I'm going to charge you an arm and a leg, a whole $17 to have a half-an-hour conversation with me about abundance. So all that information is going to be on that website, transformationaltuesdays.com/5-star. So this is what I'm going to do. I usually don't do this, but I'm going to unmute all the lines, and if you have something to say, let's have a conversation here. What is anybody thinking, feeling, wanting to share about what we've talked about abundance? Lots of everybody talk at once. Do you feel you're living an abundant life? How do you define abundance? Karen, you want to start the conversation? Karen Mayfield, do you have yourself muted? Okay. So, I muted everybody out because somebody was there was a lot of noise going on from someplace. But so, Karen, I'm opening your line again. Karen is the founder of Wake Up Women, and Karen, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Now I can, yes. So
okay. All right.
We have this conversation about abundant living all the time. We talk about abundance, and we talked about the law of giving and receiving a little earlier. And there's a bunch of other universal laws that fall into this category of abundance. And I know that you are the one that has the handle on these things. So I'm going to ask you, what other universal laws apply to abundant living, and in relation to the other keys that we just talked about? Authenticity, awareness, alignment, action. What are some of the things that you can share as far as how the universe works? Newton's law of physics says for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction, and that's true for the laws of the universe, isn't it, Karen?
Yes. Well, part of what we're dealing with right now is cause and effect. So when you are in a field of abundance, you definitely minimize the, I guess you might want to say, the negative effects of cause and effect. And what you start doing is you start tapping into more of the positivity. It's really all about thought. Thought is really the backbone to the human potential. And right now on our planet, we have a lot of people who are not in the positivity thought flow. They've got negative thinking, and they may not even be conscious of it, because we have 50,000 thoughts a day. And if only 4,500 of those thoughts are positive, think about all the negative thoughts that you've got going on that you're not even aware of, and it shows up in your actions, in your habits, in the way that you think, and you may not even be aware of it at all. So the main thing for me when it comes to abundance, if I want abundance in my life, one of the first things that I do is I weed out every single thing except exactly what it is that I want to attract into my life. So you got to get rid of all the, as Zig Ziglar would say, you have to get rid of all the stinking thinking.
Yeah.
You have to directly move into the law of positivity, because the positivity factor is what it's all about. And that's what's going to bring you all of the abundance that, that's going to come in there. And it's just like I said, you can't afford not to think this way.
Yeah. And you're absolutely right. And Zig Ziglar also says that in order for us to get everything we want, we should help other people get everything that they want. And it's an overflow. It's not one of these things, a lot of people out there, not just the negativity, but the lack mindset. Like, there are only so many pieces of pie, so once they're all gone, there's none left for me. And that's not true with abundance. Yeah. It's a constant flow of energy. Everything is energy. Energy is everything, so it's a constant flow of that energy to you if you hold the space for it to be. So, yeah, positivity is...
And, and the thing about it is that you really have to get into retraining your brain. And, and it's not impossible. This morning I was speaking to, one of my clients about, I'm helping her to get this whole coaching program started, and it's really about retraining your brain. And I told her this morning, I said, Lisa, what it all comes down to, it all comes down to thought. Words carry so much power.
Yes.
That I don't think that people are familiar with it, and they also have to watch about the words that they even speak. And it was really interesting that this morning during one of our brainstorming sessions, they were talking about doing a challenge, and I was like, I don't know, for some reason I've got a problem with the word challenge. I was like, I don't want to do it. If it's a challenge, I don't want to do it. I thought, I want to do something that is an opportunity. So I'm going to look at my positivity thinking as an opportunity to increase my positive thinking and forget about decreased negativity. To increase positivity, the negativity goes down on its own. You don't need any energy whatsoever.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Once you replace negativity with positivity and you consistently are in that conversation, things will shift. Things change.
Yes.
They will, in fact, transform.
I mean, and that is, it can't help but not do that, because once you have the universal laws working with you, because you got to think about this, the laws of attraction gives you exactly what you think about. So the law of attraction has no way to determine what it is. Is it positive or is it negative? The law of attraction just does not care. The law of positivity deals strictly with positivity.
Right. So that speaks to, I'm so glad we're having this conversation, Karen, because that speaks to what you think about and what you speak about, you bring about. And as we're having this conversation about thoughts and words, I want to bring to everybody's awareness a book by a woman named Dr. Yvonne Oswald. It's called Every Word Has Power. And every word has power. And I have a bunch of copies here that I can I can, I'm not sure how much they are, but I have a bunch of copies here. If you can't find it on Amazon.com, send me an email. I just put my email address in the chat room. It's teresavelardi@gmail.com, and I can arrange for you to get a copy of that. So every word has power, and she's in the process of writing the sister book to that, which is Every Thought Has Power, which is everything that Karen just said. What you think about, you bring about, and what you speak about, you bring about as well. So if you want to attract something positive into your life, if you want to attract a better relationship in your life, you have to speak highly of the relationships that you already have. Because remember what I said, when you say thank you and gratitude, and God said, it's a way of saying to the universe, to God, that yes, thank you for this. I want some more that looks just like it. Be sure you're stating the right thing that looks just like it. I love the fact that I have fabulous relationships in my life. My good friends, you know, are so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so. And I would love to have more people just like these people in my life, you know, and make sure that you are specific with what it is that you desire when you are looking for abundance, and don't leave anything out. You know, I know somebody, she comes to my mind. I know somebody who made a list. She was looking for a relationship. She was looking for a husband. And she made a list about the characteristics that she wanted in her husband, right down to the fact that she had a specific accent in mind that she felt was a turn on to her, that she really wanted this person to have. And she kept reading that, and she kept thinking about it, and she was affirming that this person should come to her. And sure enough, he showed up in her life, and they've been married for over 20 years. So what you think about and you speak about, you bring about. Yeah.
Yeah. Be it whatever. I mean, if you want to know what you're thinking, look at what's showing up in your life. That's the telltale factor. Judged by results, often harsh, but always fair.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Thank you, Karen. Anybody have any thoughts they want to share? We have some new people, new people on the call today, on the event today. So I'm open for conversation. There was the movie Pay It Forward. You know, Karen, we were talking a little earlier about, you know, giving things away and paying forward. So I started out this conversation by saying Transformational Tuesdays is a way for me to pay forward what I'd learned on my own transformational journey, which you'll hear more about, and you can read some of it on transformationaltuesdays.com. I felt like I had lost myself in what somebody else had decided was my quote-unquote role in that person's life. So I was living what I would call a scripted life, and it certainly wasn't abundant in the areas where I wanted it to be abundant. And I had to look at myself in the mirror one day and say, who are you and why are you here? And I suggest that that question be a requirement for every person, especially women who are, you know, who tend to make everybody else a priority besides ourselves. So I just would like I would encourage you to look in the mirror and ask yourself that question. Who are you and why are you here? Do you know your purpose? Do you know what you're passionate about? Do you know why you're in the position that you're in? All of these things are part of abundant living and creating abundance in your life. So I would suggest that everybody ask themselves that same question. And as a reminder to our people who are on the phone, if you have a question or a comment that you would like to share, you can just text me a message to 570-230-4185. And I'll be glad to answer that question. And I know some of you don't have the capability at this point where you are right now, being at work or at a place where you're not able to speak. So I understand that. So if you have a question or a comment, you can either use the text number that I just gave you, or you can use the chat as part of this. Karen, you know,
yes, ma'am.
let's talk about, can we talk about for a minute, abundance in areas other than finance? I know that, like we talked earlier about abundant relationships, abundant living life, giving space for your emotions to flow abundantly. And all of these things are really part of living authentically, I believe. And before I go further, I want to encourage everybody to be fearlessly authentic. Fearlessly authentic. Be brave, be bold, be willing to put yourself out there, because if you don't, then the universe is not going to give you exactly what you need. The universe will give you, God will give you that which is in alignment with who you are presenting yourself to be. So I want to talk about this in terms of relationships, Karen. And you want to talk a little bit about how that works?
Yeah.
Thanks for stepping in here.
Well, you're welcome.
I called you out.
That's okay. Relationships are the best seminar in town. The relationships are going to give you the opportunity to bring all your stuff out. I mean, that's just, I don't know why it's that way, but that's just what it is. So when you're bringing abundance into your life, into your relationship, my thing is that you need to show up as your authentic self, who has claimed your baggage, who has put your baggage in its suitcase where it belongs, because you can't ever get it's part of your life. That's what it is. It's something that you take away, and it goes with you all the time. And then, make yourself ready. There's a certain readiness of being open and making sure that you dealt with everything that went on in your past with any of the other relationships, and that you're not hiding out somewhere behind some emotion somewhere that will keep you safe or keep you protected or whatever from love. But if you want to have abundance in your relationship, now when I'm thinking of abundance, I'm thinking a relationship that adds to your life and doesn't take away. Because there's a lot of toxic relationships that you can get into that they take away from your energy source and they don't add to it. Right. And so the main thing is that like attracts like. So whatever you aspire to have in a relationship, become that first. And then that's what will show up in your life.
Yeah, and it's true. So, and now I want to bring this to light, because Karen and I have been talking. I work with Karen on a regular basis. We've been talking about something that Wake Up Women is going to be putting out, and it's a book on dating. And a lot of people today are using online services to date. And there are some people who hide behind the computer, and there are some people who really have the ability to express themselves and who they are in that particular arena. So I know that Karen, under the topic of abundance, let's talk about building abundant relationships. Where in this particular arena, let's say the dating arena, or the possibility of finding your spouse. How, and I know that I'll let you talk from here, because I know that you've got experience that has worked out quite well.
Yes. As far as an online dating?
Yeah, and building relationships by showing up completely rather than hiding.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. I think until you know exactly what it is that you want to attract into your life, that what's going to make that clear to you is getting what you don't want. Pretty soon, eventually, when you keep getting what you don't want in your relationship, eventually it's going to get your attention. And so many people focus on what they don't want, but that's what they get, because that's the law of attraction. So you really have to focus on what it is that you want and get clear with it. It's just like anything else in your life. Weed out anything that's not making a plus. Get rid of the minuses. Just get rid of them. Just minus them out by adding pluses.
Right.
And that, I think that when it comes to online dating, that this whole thing, I mean, and this is the number 2 way to meet people in the world now, but there's so many people that are still, they're not getting it. And, you know, so they're just out there every month, still having lunch. It's just lunch. Nothing's changing. They're still not, they're meeting people, but they're not, you know, they're not building a relationship.
Right.
That really is all going to go back. That's
right.
going to go back to you.
Yeah, the authenticity factor is really important there. When you're looking to build abundant relationships, you are drawing people close to you that are a reflection of who you are. You know, I know someone I met in a seminar at one point, and she's a very spiritual woman. And anytime I say anything to her like, "Oh, it's so good to speak to you. You really fill up my, you know, that you really fill the conversation with positivity and abundance and authenticity." And she will come back to me and say, "Teresa, I'm simply mirroring a reflection of who you are and what you bring to the conversation." So again, that mirror exercise. Who are you?
Yeah.
Why are you here? What do you want? Make a list of questions that you want to ask yourself. And really, one of the things that I've learned through a coach that I've worked with for a while, Katie Joy, and she is just a joy. She really is. She has reminded me, especially as women, we tend to, and this is all about abundance, we tend to not take time for ourselves. Well, you know, I have to go back to that. For anybody who's ever traveled on a plane, what's the first thing that they tell you? If the oxygen mask falls, you put the oxygen on yourself first, and then you help others. And we tend to be like, let me help everybody, let me give them my money, and then there's nothing left for me, and then there's nothing left for me, and then there's nothing left for me. So in contrast to that, I am going to suggest and use the words that Katie uses, fill up your cup, ladies. Fill up your cup. Fill up your cup, whether it be with, you know, so even just time to sit down with a cup of tea, a cup of coffee, whatever, and not have to be in conversation with anyone who draws from you. You know, there are people out there that I call energy vampires who just like will suck the life out of you any opportunity they get. And that requires a fill up your cup break when you're done with that stuff, you know, or it requires a severing of the time you spend together, or spend time with people who are in alignment with who you are, who are really walking in their authenticity and moving in their abundant, you know, in their abundant life. So the thing is that who we are is reflected in the people that we are attracting to us. And I heard somebody say, and I've heard it many times, and I can't give you who is responsible for this, but we are the sum of the 5 people we most hang around with. Here's a question. Who are you hanging around with? And then they are for your highest and best interest. So they are in your highest and best interest. So I would suggest to you that I've offered you a lot of questions on this conversation. Thank you, Karen, for stepping in and helping me out here.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And I want to invite you once again on July the 7th at 8 p.m. Eastern. And all the information is going to be out there for you on the website. I'm going to give you in a second. We're going to have a detailed conversation about abundance, abundant living, with the 5 stars of abundance. So I invite you to go to transformationaltuesdays.com/5-star. That page will be up and ready for registration by 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. And if you would like to have a VIP moment, the VIP half hour with me, the information will be on there as well. So our hour is gone. No matter how long I think it might be, the hour is gone in no time. So Karen, I want to thank you for pinch hitting here.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for having you, for being able to speak up when I kind of called you out there. So thanks. I appreciate it. And thank you everyone who's listening or watching this conversation. The replay will be up on transformationaltuesdays.com, and there's going to be a way on there that you can access the video portion. We have our YouTube channel, Transformational Tuesdays. The YouTube channel is up and it's looking pretty good, and the video replays are available there as well. So if you have a choice, you can either use the audio or the video replays. They're all available to you. And again, I want to invite you to be part of the event on July the 7th, and also remind everybody that we are putting together something else with Jean Adrienne. Everybody loved her last week, and we're going to bring her back for a 2-hour conversation as well. That's going to be a Transformational Tuesday special event. That information will come out to you. But I'm looking forward to seeing all of you next time as we travel what I like to call the transformational trails of life together. So until then, have a great week, everyone. We'll see you next time.